Let's learn about the invisible friends that help us perform a ton of our core functionality in this type of game. We've already actually used what I guess I would call here an invisible friend in a piece of our code related to our bomb. Let's take a quick look to kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about here. So in our bomb script, we have a piece of behavior right on this line of code. This array of colliders that we're gathering from a physics overlapping sphere that's in the position of the bomb in a radius around it. I'm generating this kind of invisible sphere, and within it, I'm collecting information about all the objects that are nearby. Let's remember quickly how this works. So when I run my game, I'm able to move around and drop this bomb. I'll drop my laser here. You'll see there's some new stuff we're going to talk about in another video or two here. When this sphere explodes, it's going to gather in an invisible sphere that's bigger than it, all the objects around it. And if I'm too far away, then that radius isn't going to reach all these objects. And, oh, it caught my player, unfortunately. But we'll see here, hopefully a little bit better. Let's just make sure we're well out of the way here. It did catch just some of them, but notice it didn't catch the rest of them, and because it was so far away, the physics was less. So we have this generated invisible stuff that performs some coding behaviors on the things that it interacts with. And we have a lot more systems than just these overlap spheres that we can use to our advantage. And we're going to study a few of them here and begin to integrate them into our gameplay because they're useful all over the place. So what I'm going to do right now is take a look at my player's muzzle. And we'll see that there's a few new pieces of functionality I've added in this section. Side note, if you're using my prepackaged prefabs to follow along with my code, this is the second section of those prefabs that we're now looking into. So you can just import that into an empty project and peek alongside what we're doing in our actual coding tutorial here. The one I want to look at just briefly to end this video is this Ray viewer script. If I pop this open, it does something very simple. I can actually get rid of my start entirely, clean this code up a little bit, and it does a couple things. We set a weapon range, just a nice easy float value, and then we're doing a debug functionality. Before, we've used debug.log to print out string messages. Maybe we actually gather some information where maybe weapon range changes during gameplay and I want it to be printed out so I can keep track of when it changes and to make sense of the logic. However, we can also have some kind of physics-based information being debugged as well. In this case, I'm going to be drawing an array of information at the location of the object this script is attached to, which right now will be my player's muzzle. It's going to be transforming in the forward direction, which is, if we mouse over this here, it's not actually showing me properly here, but it's just forward straight out from the relative rotation of the object, multiplied by the weapon range. So I wanted to have this ray extend in this direction for this distance, and here's the color. And we can change this as much as we want. And when I go in and run my game, I notice that there's actually no ray that's visible here. And the reason is because this is a debug ray, meaning it's in our scene view. If I drag this game view to only be half my screen, now I see in my actual editor this debugged ray. Oh, I just gave away something to come here by clicking by accident. But you'll see right now that wherever I look, this ray is being shot out. And if I change this range down, this ray's length is shortened. This means that now in my gameplay, I have the ability to theoretically have some kind of a ray being shot out from my player that, let's say, like, it's not actually visible in the game on the right here, but if it was to touch something like a wall or maybe a game object, maybe there could be some kind of interaction. And so we're going to, in the next tutorial, learn about ray casting and how we can actually have these rays behaving and causing logic to occur in our games.